All right.
All right, I got
Like,
this. Well,
okay.
ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the fucking news.
Is this a bad time to tell you I started recording like right before you did that?
That's how we're gonna open
All
up
right.
every single one now.
All right.
All right,
Good
well, I
start.
can't show this to anybody I know.
Good, good start, boys. All right. So, welcome to the name we decided on. I forgot already. F League Starters Podcast.
All right,
Because
all
we
right,
are
retake.
not.
All
Fuck
right,
off.
all
We're not
right, all right,
retaking.
can we
We're
start
not
this over?
retake.
I
Why?
feel like
That's
this
no.
is going downhill.
That's no fun, man. The F League Starters Podcast, because no matter what sport we play in, we're underneath the developmental league every day, every time. We have some topics here we wanted
for
to talk
yourself.
about, and Matt's photo might change like part way through this recording, and you can tell which one's Matt because it says Matt on his photo.
Wait, did you
For
not
now.
change mine?
I can't change yours. You have to change yours.
Oh, what?
I can change your nickname, but I can't change your photo.
How do you do that?
Go to settings.
Yeah, you got to go into your settings.
Wait, do I have to download the picture first?
Yes. And then you have to go into your settings on Discord and go to your account settings and edit your account. Welcome to the first episode of the F League Starters Podcast. As you can tell, we are seasoned professionals. We have some topics here we wanted to talk about. We've been talking about doing this for a while. We haven't had a name or any real ideas going into this. We live streamed, I think, two of these. Neither of them were very long. We ended up taking quizzes halfway through them because that was entertaining, I guess.
Yeah, we didn't plan ahead.
We did not. But with what's been happening, especially in the area there goes this photo. Especially in
Shit, I
the
fucked
area
up.
we live in, what's been happening has been
Okay.
pretty controversial, and there are very loud opinions on a lot of stuff. Any podcast we do with Matt will more than likely be NFL related. He does not like the NBA, which fair
No,
game to
I
him.
just have no time to it's so much to keep track with.
On
Fair
the
enough.
flip side, if any podcasts happen with only Kyle and Matt and not myself, it will most likely be completely NFL oriented. And I mean, I don't know a ton about the NFL, at least usually not, but this year's been crazy for us. We're in the Chiefs area, Chiefs district, Chiefs fanhood.
Chiefs Kingdom.
I know he has an
Chiefs
Edelman
Kingdom.
picture, but that's because he's a loser. That's all it is.
Hey.
He was
You
rooting
let
for
me
the
know.
Chiefs though.
You're about to
He
win.
was rooting for the Chiefs though. He was. I can
Yeah,
tell
he
you
was
guys
on our
he
side.
was rooting for the Chiefs, even though they lost.
boy Edelman,
We'll
though.
get to that. So the first thing we have to talk about, we have the Pro Bowl. Now this week at work has been hectic. I didn't see much of the Pro Bowl. I saw the controversy about whoever it was tackling the Patriots mascot.
Oh yeah, that was
the fuck
Jamal
was that
Adams. Fuck that guy.
What was that about? Why does anyone care that he tackled the mascot?
I don't know. Everybody was like cheering and celebrating, and then they asked him afterwards, "Do you regret it?" And he's like, "No, I don't regret it. It was a good choice." And the dude ended up in the hospital, from what I heard. And it's like,
Oh my
seriously,
God.
like
I
he's just trying
doubt
to do his
that.
job.
I
No,
doubt he ended up in the hospital.
they told him he ended up in the hospital, and there was like kind of proof. I don't know. And yeah, he's just like, "No, I don't regret it."
Jesus.
But like, still, even if not, like, it's a full-blown safety. It's in the Pro Bowl, so obviously he's good at his job. He's good safety, and he just comes in and just wrecks this dude. Like, he's just trying to make a living, being a mascot. Like, he's just joking around, having fun. You come in here and just like eat him onto the ground. Like, what?
I mean, for the amount of things that we saw during the Pro Bowl, like I saw plenty of like the highlights online. At least from that, a lot of the Pro Bowl looked kind of scripted. So I wouldn't have been surprised to hear that part was scripted too. Because there was a lot of entertainment value in it.
From what I had heard, the NFL kept calling him and he wouldn't even pick up. He was just like, "No, I know they're mad at me, but I don't really care right now."
Did he have the kicker of his team kick his phone and smash it so that way he had an excuse, or is that just is that exclusively a Tom Brady thing?
Wait, what?
I'm asking if he got his phone smashed by his teammate. Yeah, I'm going right into Tom Brady. I just had to throw that in there.
Wait, what did Tom Brady do? I don't know.
When they needed his phone for the evidence of the Deflategate or whatever, and then suddenly his phone just wound up like smashed into pieces, and everybody was going, "Oh yeah, he just had his kicker kick the phone as hard as he could."
Oh yeah, no, I hit that part out of my brain. I totally forgot that Deflategate was a thing.
Oof.
I mean,
honestly, are you even sure it happened?
If you want to repress stuff, man, go ahead. So Kyle, you probably followed it closer than either of us, the Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Didn't Mike Evans have an interception?
Yeah, they played a lot of defensive players on offense and vice versa. I guess just to make it more entertaining because it was basically a blowout.
That does sound like a lot of fun. I probably would have watched it if I wasn't busy, but it's been getting better and better over the last few years. I remember one of the first years I actually decided I wanted to watch the league. It was a lot of, well, we're not going to play defense, and we're just going to throw the ball really long over and over and call it a game. It's like that's not entertaining to watch. If I wanted to watch that, I'd go watch a practice, and that's a lot of what it felt like was like kind of like an NBA shoot-around type thing, where they were just showing off, and it was less of a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the final score?
It was 26-7. AFC won, obviously.
That is one of the lowest scores I've actually heard. That was awesome. I know, and I only know this because we were sitting together while they were doing the skills thing. I know you were pissed off during one of the skills challenges because your favorite quarterback wasn't there, and we got to watch the likes of Andrew Luck. I think he hit 2 targets, maybe 3, and
yeah,
he scored.
No, he hit 2.
He scored 5 points in
That's better than none.
in the accuracy passing skills challenge, and
he scored lower than Adam Thielen did, and he's a wide receiver.
He's more accurate than Cody Parkey is.
Oh my God! And like I said, Chiefs Kingdom, we're fans of Patrick Mahomes. Now Mahomes might not be the most accurate passer, but when you watch Andrew Luck go in there and score 5 points, you have to ask yourself, why is Mahomes not out there?
Well, I have a couple of ideas. Well, I mainly just one idea. Mahomes did fly out, I think, later than some of the other players.
He was trying to get his Heinz 57 deal with the ketchup.
Well,
yeah.
Just because he just played a game, unlike most of the players there.
He should have got a deal with Hunt
the Sunday before, so
the ketchup company.
They were actually he came out and said every meal he has like ketchup with it. I don't remember when this was. It was like the 3rd or 4th week, and he said even if they're like at a fancy restaurant, his mom will just like ask for ketchup and then sneak it to him because he's too embarrassed to ask for it and shit like that.
Oh my God.
And Heinz 57 got in contact with him, and they were like, if you can throw 57 passing touchdowns, we will give you free ketchup for the rest of your life. And he reached like 51, right? 51 or 52? 50 flat? All right.
50 flat for the regular season, but he had some in the postseason, obviously.
Yeah. So I was making a joke. He went to the Heinz guy, and he's like trying to negotiate them down. Like, what I did was pretty fucking awesome. Could you just like slide some ketchup this way?
I mean, he could probably afford.
Yeah.
He could definitely afford more than the average person when it comes to ketchup.
Oh, he's going to be affording ketchup for the rest of his fucking career.
He
might as well just buy the company
each day.
Bro, that would throw everyone off. You go to sack him and he just smells like ketchup.
He just pops out. He's too slippery.
Oh my God. All right. So that was the Pro Bowl. I think I'm gonna give Kyle the
Anything
reins
else
on
big
this one.
happen there?
Kyle, anything else big?
Not really. I mean, I guess at the very end of the fourth quarter, Jalen Ramsey caught a touchdown on offense. If that's worth mentioning.
That's the cornerback for the
Jacksonville.
Jaguars, right?
Yeah,
For
he was the
Saxon.
one that was talking all that shit on all these players, and I'm sure a few of them ended up in the Pro Bowl with him on his team. So, kind of want to see what that conversation would be like.
Yeah, he was the guy who every week when he got an interview, he would talk about next week's matchup and how they're nothing to him and shit like that. Which I like that. That's entertaining. I want to watch the player that's going to shit talk, and I want to see if he can back it up. And
Oh yeah, that's right. You
t-
were a fan of Sherman.
okay, I was not a fan of whatever.
I was
To
a fan
be
of Sherman.
Yeah, to be
Oh
fair,
yeah,
like
I thought you were
half the time he backed it up, the other half of the time he didn't. But it was still, I think one time he said like Gronkowski can't do shit or something like that. And it was like, dude, Gronkowski could eat you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Ramsey talked shit on Gronk too.
So,
Didn't talk shit on my boy Edelman though.
well, wasn't that at the part of the season where Edelman still wasn't playing, or was that
He
late
only
enough
missed
into
the
the
first 4
season?
games due to something. He wasn't supposedly he did drugs, but you know who knows.
You know, like a
Supposedly,
majority
well,
of
when
the
you get caught
NFL,
like that, it's pretty clear that you did something.
a lot of
Just like
athletes do
supposedly
that
Josh
shit.
Gordon did too, but you know.
A lot of athletes do
his
that
was
stuff.
different.
The difference is some athletes have the self-control to, not do it during the season.
Yeah, well,
It's
you know.
just a timing thing at that point.
Oh yeah, by the way, Josh Gordon is still on the Patriots team, so technically if they win the Super Bowl, he gets a ring.
What?
And right
That's
now so supposedly the Patriots right now are paying for Josh Gordon in rehab. There's still a chance that he can come back. Obviously not this year,
yeah,
but
not
there's
for
still
the
a
Super
chance that
Bowl or
he'll be
anything.
able to come back eventually. And if the Pats do win, he gets a Super Bowl ring.
Wow.
I mean, he's a good fucking player. He's got to be one of my favorite players of the last couple years. If I want to see anyone get a ring, I want to see him get a ring. The only problem is I guess I don't know how I feel about that. He's sitting in rehab watching it on the TV and earning a ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean that's why I was all right with Philadelphia winning last year because Darren Sproles getting the ring,
Yeah, that was really cool.
even though he was on the bench with 2 injuries.
Oh, wasn't
Dude
was
couldn't
that
walk
was that when it
anymore.
was his leg and his arm?
Yeah, he had the torn ACL and broken arm
Oh
on the same
Jesus.
play.
Same
Yeah,
play. Same play.
Oh, I
I
forgot
don't think
about
he
that.
fumbled either. He just powered through it.
Oh my God. So next thing we're looking at, and this is what I was saying Kyle should take the reins on because he's gonna have a heated debate over this, and I want to hear his point first. Who is this year's NFL MVP?
I'm pretty sure it's obvious to most people.
Aaron Donald.
No,
Cody Parkey.
it's definitely Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I didn't see that coming. Elaborate.
All right, so Patrick Mahomes had 50,000, or not 50,000, my bad, 5,097 passing yards this year with 50 touchdowns.
This
And
is just regular season, right?
yes, regular season. And this has only happened one other time in a season.
Jesus.
And that was
That was
I can't remember if it was Brady or Manning, but I know it was for sure one of those two.
I think it was
And
Manning.
they were a lot longer, like they had been playing a lot longer. Mahomes is in his first year starting, and he did that. and he's only one of 3 quarterbacks to pass for 50 touchdowns in a single season. And you look at the guy play, and there's really no other quarterback that played as well as Patrick Mahomes did this.
I think the one
So
thing that has to be factored into this is the fact that this guy's not developed. This is his second year in the league. He had one start last year. He was sitting behind Alex Smith, who, no offense to the guy, his career was falling with us. So I wasn't sad to see him move on. You know what I mean? But this guy he didn't have the time to develop. And we have decent quarterback coaches. We always have. But this was just unexpected. And at the end of last season, when he got that first start, and everybody watched him play, and they're talking about this kid's the future, this kid's the future. I wasn't sure, because you always come out of a season seeing someone do well and go, this kid's awesome. He's gonna kill it next season, and then they come out next season and they've learned nothing, and in fact, they've retracted. You know what I mean? We saw that with the 49ers, because the first game after Alex Smith got injured, what's his name? I don't even remember his name. That's how bad he's been the rest of the season. Holy crap. You know the
Like
kid I'm
this
talking
year?
about,
What
though.
are you talking about?
Yeah,
Garoppolo?
is it the 40? What team Redskins. It's the
Yeah, he
Redskins,
went to
isn't
the
it?
Redskins.
Yeah. Alex
Yeah.
Smith goes down with broken leg. And the new kid that comes in, first year out of or fourth, fucking some amount of years out of college. They were not expecting him to ever have to play the season. I know that much. And he came in, and that first game was ridiculous. And they're all talking about, oh my God, we had this diamond in the rough. Who knew?
Oh no, I
And
think that's the backup QB for the 49ers once Garoppolo went down, and then their second
Yeah.
string went down, right? And then this third guy comes in, does amazing for the first game, and then nothing afterwards. And he's
Yeah,
like
and I
so
think you're thinking
emotional
of
in the
Nick
interview.
Mullins.
I am thinking of Mullins. You are correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
But then they're all talking about, oh my God, he's going to be great. We have such a great lineup. And then what did he do the rest of the season? So that's what I was worried about last season when everybody was talking about Mahomes being the next best thing. I was worried. Are you sure? Do you really want to say that this early? Are you jinxing it? You know?
Yeah.
But I have to say, for first year starting all 16 games, to set as many records as he did, and we're not talking team records. We're talking he set some NFL records. Now, sure, they're year-based and they're age-based, but age-based records are awesome. To say, I'm the youngest player to have done blank, that is amazing. Because then you look at this kid and you're going, well, he's got how many years left in the league? I would
Hopefully
like,
a lot.
hopefully a lot, and hopefully all with the Chiefs. And
The Pats need a new QB at some point.
Brady's apparently retiring this year. That's what
No,
everybody's
he's
saying.
not.
Granted, they all said that last year, and they all said
He
that the
came
year
out
before.
and said that there's 0% chance that he's retiring this year.
And
for the
ESPN
Super Bowl.
still displayed a story today saying going out with a bang. The story of Tom Brady winning his last Super Bowl this weekend. They actually came
That's
out
because
with
they
that.
want readers. Yeah.
I know they
That's
do.
on ESPN.
It's clickbait.
It's always clickbait. Speaking of which, what are we going to title this video? Never mind. We'll deal with that after the recording. So I'm on Pro Football Reference, which there's Pro Basketball Reference, Pro Any Sport Reference, and this is kind of off topic, but the funny thing you get on these websites is nicknames or assumed nicknames, and a lot of these things are like, well, they heard it once, so it must be a nickname, and they just put it on the website. I've only heard 2 of these for Mahomes, but there are 4 of them on here. Can you guys guess what they are?
Mahomes.
That's
what
what
my brother-in-law
that's what
calls it.
yeah, that's what like everybody here calls it, but that is not one of the ones on here. The main one that I've heard for the later part of the season was Showtime. I heard that quite a bit. It was always Showtime Mahomes because of
Yep.
all the sidearms and the no looks. It's the same as the Showtime Lakers. The no look passes, the skill moves. It's all the same kind of stuff. The other one is the gunslinger. I heard that a couple times toward the beginning of the season. This kid's got an arm. He's got a cannon. He doesn't even set his feet, and he throws the ball 40 fucking yards. It's insane. Not family friendly, by the way. Should probably throw that out there. We're gonna cuss. It happens. Get over it. The next one on here says the musician.
Did not hear that.
No, I don't think I ever heard that. I don't know who nicknamed him the musician. I don't even know what that's referencing.
It's like the ketchup lover, one of the nicknames or something.
It should
Almost
be, but
ketchup.
it is. Maybe that's what this next one is referencing, because this last one is Fatrick. I mean,
What?
he's 6'3", 230 pounds. I don't know where Fatrick comes into that, or what that even means. That's kind of
It's fat
confusing.
magic.
It's fat magic. All right. So we'll keep those extra nicknames in the back of our head. It's time to get to the point that might piss a few of us off or make us happy if you're a Pats fan.
So wait, that's what everybody thinks is the MVP. It's Mahomes.
It's the majority of people, I'd say.
I've seen plenty of people argue for it to be who is it? Drew Brees.
I've heard for Drew Brees. I've heard people saying
And
him.
I'm looking at this like, well, yeah, he had like kind of a comeback, but MVP is not about comeback. MVP is about performance during this season. And I think if you're going to set age records and you're going to take a team that, I mean, no offense, our team wasn't that great, and no team should make playoffs, let alone the championship, with no defense, which we hardly had a defense. Without Patrick Mahomes on the offense, even with all those other weapons, if we don't have a quarterback that can do what he did, you're not getting that far. You just aren't. So I think if you're looking at how far he carried the team, I'm not going to say by himself, because it wasn't all himself. We had amazing pieces around him, but what he did was,
He has got Hill.
yeah, what he did was extraordinary. I'll just leave it at that.
And I want to say that people are saying Drew Brees, but Patrick Mahomes has over 1,000 more passing yards, and he has almost 20 more passing touchdowns. He has 18 more passing touchdowns. So I don't know where you can put Drew Brees over Mahomes when he is beating him stat wise. He's beating him in every category. I don't understand it.
I think it's more of a non-stat issue, because if there's one gripe you have to have with Mahomes, the clutch situations, man, those were so painful to watch. I mean, when we got into those late game situations, not counting the championship, when we got into those late game situations, he wasn't as accurate. You know, it didn't look like Mahomes for a minute.
Well, I think the big games, the Rams and Patriots, Mahomes was keeping up. The only thing, well, it was the first Patriots game I'm talking about. Mahomes was keeping up. It was just the defense that was just letting him down, because we kept scoring. It was a shootout with the Rams, and even the Patriots game, he scored, I believe it was 3 touchdowns, and it basically came down to our defense on the Patriots game.
Yeah, and
also when it came to the Ravens game that we so desperately needed to stay at the number 1 seed, Mahomes had that pass on, I believe it was 4th and 9 to Hill, the deep pass. It was from like diagonal direction wise on the field. It was insane that he made that play. So I don't think it's all on Mahomes for those late game situations.
Oh no, I wasn't saying it's all on Mahomes, but you have QBs in the argument, such as Brees, or if you were to say Brady, And you're talking about in the last 3 minutes, they will orchestrate the offense. And I think this definitely has to feed into him being younger. It's harder to get that command and that captain type mindset when you've only been with the team for 2 years. Now, sure, he's known the guys for 2 years, but he's gotta find his voice. He's got to find out what works, what to say. He's got to learn how the NFL plays out. He's got to learn to read the defense better, stuff like that. So I guess it's more of a developmental problem, but still, I would vote for him for MVP because the stats don't lie, and it's ridiculously impressive to even point out that he has this issue and still say, I want that quarterback on my team over any of the others, you know?
Yeah.
How many interceptions has Mahomes thrown?
Oh, I think
I will check that real quick.
it was in the teens, I'm pretty sure. He had a couple bad
Yeah,
games.
Drew Brees definitely threw. Okay, he had 12 interceptions, but you also have to take into account Mahomes is just a young gunslinger right now, and he's just learning. Like, he could throw it deep to Tyreek Hill almost every time, but there's some times where he's going to mess up.
Which is exactly what
So Drew
happened in the
Brees beat him
Rams
in that
game.
aspect, but
I mean, I would
exactly.
gladly take a 50 touchdown to 12 interception ratio from anybody. Like, that's just stellar. You can't compete with.
Wait, was it Breeze that threw the 12 interceptions, or was it Mahomes?
Mahomes. Drew
Oh,
Brees, I believe, threw 5.
yeah. So
Mahomes has that 6 spin move though.
he only has a 2.1% interception percentage, which is crazy low considering how far he throws the ball. Because what's his average yards? When he
Well,
throws the
what's
ball,
his completion percentage?
uh, completion percentage 66% this season. 2 out of every 3 throws. That's honestly crazy. And his average yards on every throw, even the ones that aren't caught, 8.8 yards. So every time the ball leaves his hand over the course of the season, 8.8 yards on average. That is honestly
Yeah.
insane. Holy shit.
So even just completing 2 plays or 2 passes, but you attempt 3 on average, you're gonna gain 16 yards, which is the first. Of course, there's gonna be those huge gains, which are gonna mess up the ratio. But
Yeah, and also the short ones or the 3 and outs, all that stuff.
yeah,
I think one of the last things we should get into, last couple things, we definitely need to talk about how the AFC and NFC championship games ended.
oh man, those Saints got robbed.
I wanna
Oh,
kind of translate that into talking about how the NFL's been messing with the rules because it's been a continuous thing year to year to year, and it's making me think of what they're gonna do this next year, and I'm already pissed off about it before the season started, but whatever. And then I guess if we want to, because I'm not sure I want to all that badly, we can talk about the Super Bowl to whatever extent you guys want to.
can't. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to see it this year. I have to work that night.
Yeah, neither am
Oof.
I. Unfortunately, I'm at work from 7 in the morning to 9 p.m. because we fired the new guy, which we'll talk about after this. I don't need to put his name into this. But yes,
Okay.
Get
we
fucked,
fired him.
Justin.
Fuck you too. I guess we are putting his name into this.
No, it's the other Justin.
Whatever. His name was also Justin. He got fired because he couldn't do his job worth of shit. He's never gonna watch this fucking video. Why do I care?
Get that Shane thrown at you. I heard he's black. Cut that in post.
I'm not cutting that in post. All right, so AFC and NFC championship games. This might be the first
No.
year. This might be the first year I've watched both championship games. Because again, I'm not a big NFL guy. But I got home from work and the Saints game was finishing up and I saw the hit live, and we all know what hit I'm talking about. I saw the hit live, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't think it was pass interference, because it looked like the ball was crossing at the same time, but when you see the replay, I must have been tired or something because it was way off.
That NFC game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And even worse, when you keep watching it, it's like Roby Coleman could have turned around and picked that ball off because that was a
Oh no,
terrible throw.
he couldn't have got. He even said it. He was in a um post game interview, and he's like, "Yeah, I knew I was beat, and there was no way I was getting it, so I was just trying to save the touchdown. I was expecting a flag."
But
And like, if you look at the replay, he's looking around like crazy, trying to
Yeah, you
find a
can see
flag,
him.
and
Yeah.
then nothing happens, and then he just starts like celebrating.
yeah, but if you watch the pass, I mean if the ball was thrown through the air, I don't think he would have been because he was beat on foot. My point is the ball was thrown so far inside, it was like a couple yards inside of the receiver to the point where Roby Coleman ran past the ball to hit the guy. He ran across where the ball was going to hit the guy. I think it was a terrible throw, and it was a terrible play, and it was a terrible no call. It was just all around terrible. It was ridiculous. And I've heard this over and over again. Someone made a great point. If you guys were ever really into baseball, I don't know if you guys heard. I think this was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Somebody was pitching a perfect game. It wasn't like a majorly important game, it was a regular season game, but they were pitching a perfect game, a no hitter. No player for the opposing team got on base. And he throws the pitch, gets bunted down in the grass toward the first baseman. First baseman hops off base to go get it. The pitcher runs to first base. This is the last out he needs for the perfect game. The ball gets thrown to him, beats the runner by like a step and a half, and the runner gets called safe. Ruins this perfect game. They can't overturn the call. And the umpire at that first base came out, and I think it was a day later, and he apologized. We're never going to see an NFL referee apologize because that corporation overall just likes to stay quiet. We are never going to see anyone
Goodell
apologize.
hasn't even acknowledged it was a thing. There was a petition signed by like about 700,000 people. I signed it because I'm like, I want a rematch between the Rams and Saints, or at least it needs to be acknowledged. Like, he didn't say a single word about this whole thing, and it's definitely a controversy. Like,
This is
do we
going to
even know
haunt
if Roger
them.
Goodell is a person anymore, or is he just like a robot that they just kind of bring
I'm
out for like the draft and that's it?
I'm going to go on the side of South Park and say he's a robot.
He's probably a robot.
Probably.
They bring him
He's
out.
literally the worst commissioner that I think any sport has ever had, and I'm not exaggerating.
I mean, if we're not counting soccer or, football, whatever, then yeah, I'd agree. However, I don't know if you guys know, Roby Coleman did get fined for that hit.
Well, yeah,
They
it's
came
helmet
out.
to helmet too.
I know they came out and they fined him, which is like a very discreet way to say, yeah, we know. But with no one actually talking about it, it's just, oh my God. And it's not even the fact that it changed the outcome of the game that pisses me off. That does piss me off. But the thing that is really getting under my skin with the whole thing is the rule changes that we've made over the past. Oh my God. When did Goodell decide that we needed to quit hitting the quarterback, and Goodell decided we needed to quit hitting receivers, and Goodell decided we need to quit this and quit that? It's been 5 years since we started implementing the player safety. Now, player safety has always been important, but we started implementing stricter rules that over the course of the next couple seasons would get called a ton. And helmet to helmet was one of those rules. Now, if you're going to implement more and more player safety every season, and you're going to talk about it like player safety is of the utmost importance, You cannot have a call like this go missed in a playoff championship game and not talk about it if you're going to promote player safety. Because he got fucking railed. The fact that he, as far as I know, does not have a concussion is amazing. Because when you watch in slow mo him falling to the ground, holy shit, he ragdolled for a second right after the hit. And I cannot believe that no one at the NFL went, well, we're all about player safety, but we're going to keep our mouth shut.
I don't understand how, like, even if they didn't want to call it pass interference, how it's not helmet to helmet.
Oh no, he was fine because
Like, they just missed both.
they decided it was helmet to helmet.
Well,
The
they
pro-
decided a little bit too late, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
They also
well,
decided it's
exactly.
pass interference. Like it's been kind of acknowledged, but nobody wants to talk about it. They're like,
It's
yeah,
been
I mean, we
acknowledged
fucked
by, like,
up, but who
Saints players.
cares?
I mean, at this point, I know it's never coming back. At this point, I know nothing's going to happen about it. People are never going to stop being mad that the game was completely turned by this call. Maybe not entirely, but this call was a big difference in the game because the Saints could have run the clock out easily. The only problem I have with it is you cannot turn a blind eye and act like everything's okay. Because it's not. And you have to admit that. I want Goodell to come out and talk about it. I don't care what he says. I mean, to an extent, I don't care what he says. But he needs to acknowledge it. And to that point about amplifying player safety, we've seen all season the issues with roughing the quarterback. I mean, hell, Ben Roethlisberger got like karate chopped on the back of the helmet and flopped over and got a roughing the passer call. If you guys remember that from the beginning of the season, that was
I mean, you gotta do
hilarious.
what you gotta do.
But these
Not
roughing the
cheating, not
passer
trying.
calls have gotten ridiculous this season. We can all agree on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, too bad.
Even
Clay
a
Matthews
clean
is
sack
bad.
with, yeah, exactly, Clay Matthews on Alex Smith when he sacked him. That was a clean sack. No helmet to helmet. I don't understand how that was a penalty because he literally sacked him. I don't know how you can rough the passer when he hasn't even thrown the ball. At that point, he's just a ball carrier.
Exactly.
I think it was like they said he fell on top of him, but
I mean, it's
Okay.
football. What do you expect when you tackle people, you know?
and then like yeah, later on, because this penalty kept getting done, a defensive player, I can't remember who it was, but he sacked a QB, and he had to turn so that he wouldn't get the penalty, and then he like twisted his ankle or like tore an ACL or something from it because he had to contort his body in a weird direction.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The only takeaway I'm getting from this is you're acting like these quarterbacks are not football players. And the whole reason this rule was made was to make the NFL more money. They know that the quarterbacks run the teams. They know that the quarterbacks are always the centerpieces. They're so important. They have the ball. They control the team. And I understand that to an extent, but when you're having to treat them like little kids when you tackle them, it's just fucking ridiculous. I have the rule pulled up if you guys want me to read it. The changes.
Sure.
It says
Go for it.
a rushing defender is prohibited for committing such intimidating and punishing acts as stuffing a passer into the ground or unnecessarily wrestling and driving him down after the passer has thrown the ball. That I understand. When he throws the ball, you should be paying attention if he threw the ball. And if you're making contact with him and he throws the ball while you're making contact with him, you don't get to push him for an extra second and throw him down to the floor. I can understand that part. Whatever. When tackling a passer who is in a defenseless posture during or just after throwing the pass, a defensive player must not unnecessarily or violently throw him down or land on top of him with all or most of his weight. I'm okay with most of that rule, but when you get down to you cannot land with all or most of your weight on the player, so you're telling me I have to have so much control as to tackle the guy but throw my force away from him at the same time.
And yeah, they can still like sidestep you and evade you. Like if you're taking that away, then it's harder for you to even tackle the QB because he could just like spin you off or move.
And they have a suggestion at the end of the rule, which I find hilarious. The defensive player must strive to wrap up the passer with the defensive player's arms and not land on the passer with all or most of the body weight. So what they're suggesting is you grab his abdomen without your helmet ever touching. You have to lean forward to grab his abdomen, but you cannot bend your head down, so your helmet has to not touch him. And then you have to tackle him without throwing him to the ground. You have to push him down lightly, and you cannot land on top of him. That's how you sack quarterbacks.
First, you have to get a pillow, right? And you have to fluff it and then set it down. Make sure you have a blanket nearby. So then you like pick him up and you like kind of cradle him a little bit. You tell him a good night story, of course. Maybe like
Can't
Good
miss
Night Moon
that.
or something. You just put him down, and then you just put the little blanket over it, and then everybody has a moment of silence so this dude can take a nap.
And as there's a small extension to the end of this rule that I don't know why they don't have it on this website. But if your name is legally Clay Matthews, you are not allowed to touch the quarterback. I don't know why they didn't put that part of the rule in here, but we all know it's part of the rule. So I'm going to add it in. You are not
It's like
allowed
one of
to
those
touch
unspoken
the
rules, just
quarterback when your name is Clay Matthews.
Yeah, it's one of the unspoken rules. Just like Des Bryant can't actually catch a football.
Hey, to be fair, I did think Des dropped it, but
Yeah, you were a Packers fan though, so
it is a little biased. But I also do like Des Bryant, so say what you want.
So I guess that does go into what I was talking about. These are all the rule changes. They have made a controversial rule change every year for the last few years. To the point where we were asking last season, what is a catch? Which they clarified that. Great, but why have the issue in the first place? I think if in the first couple weeks it becomes an obvious issue to the point where it's not being called consistently, you go back to how the old rule was. Like you strike this out and you go, okay, never mind on this rule. Go back to how it was last year, and you refine it, and then try again. You don't run it for an entire season and an entire postseason and have 16 plus weeks of issues before the rule gets taken out, because then it's annoying as a fan, I guess. And it's probably annoying to the referees who can't fucking call it right because they don't know what they're doing. Because they look at the rule and they're like, I don't know, it kind of looked like that.
man, I need to get into just arena football. Forget the NFL.
Hey, the XFL 2020,
There you go.
we're a year away, so
So I guess that's it for my little rant about the rules. It's not the reason that I'm not a big NFL fan. I'm just not a big NFL fan because
it doesn't help.
it definitely doesn't help. I just find the games boring, I guess, in the end. And watching the shitty calls happen just makes me angry. And it doesn't even have to be like for my team. If a bad call happens for the team against us, I get pissed because it's like, dude, play the game. Like I just want to. I'm watching to see the game played. I'm not watching to see what team the refs prefer, which is a lot of what it feels like.
I wonder if the refs ever make a call and then they see it on the jumbotron and they're like, "Well, shit, we fucked that up. Everybody's gonna be pissed at us now.
I feel like
We should have noticed that, but
I-
we can't change it now." Which
feel-
is a problem. They should be able to change if there's a penalty or not.
Yeah, they should
Like,
be
they
able to
look
review
and see if
certain
this was a
penalties.
penalty or no.
I agree, and I've
Not
seen
every penalty, but some
I've
certain
seen
ones.
I've seen plenty of suggestions for challenging penalties, and I think plenty of people are in the right direction. Personally, I would suggest from snap to dead ball, just one play, one entire play. Give a coach 2 or 3 flags, kind of like challenge flags, that he can throw out and go review that play. Go review this area of that play. There was either a foul that you didn't call, or there was a foul that you did call that I disagree with. Go review that foul that the coach thinks happened. Like the coach tells you, I think this happened. Go look. And he gets like 3 of those a game. And same thing with the challenge. If you were wrong, you lose the timeout, whatever. I know it's going to slow the game down. I understand. But we're going to avoid situations that we've been having every year with this bullshit. So I would rather have a more consistent, less controversial league than have it be shorter, I guess.
However, though, like where most of these terrible rule calls happen is under the 2 minutes, and you can't challenge things under 2 minutes anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you know what they should do? They should just get rid of the NFL.
Just XFL all the way, pretty much.
All right,
How
you
many
heard it
teams
here
is that
first.
supposed to be? Man, XFL and Kanye are gonna take over the world in 2020.
Oof.
XFL for sure. I'm not sure about the Kanye part, but you'll see.
Kanye 2020.
Well,
He's gonna do that to his boy.
Kanye just
He's
plain
gonna take the
can't
job from
run.
him.
Kanye just plain can't run because you know he's going to have to run under Republican, and he can't run a Republican campaign against a Republican president. As
Do
funny
we
as that
actually
would
know if he
be.
is, or is he just doing it so that?
No, I don't think he is,
I
because he
don't
never
actually
really
think he
followed
is.
up with that.
I
He
He
had
always
just
no
said
just
it on
does it when
clue.
he
stage
has a
one
new
time.
album dropping to get people to recognize his name. He
Smart
just
Maybe that's
usually
what
strategy.
like,
he's,
oh shit, I guess Kanye's dropping a new album.
Best way to make announcements, though.
That's true.
Yeah, no press is bad press. Even after Subway had that whole thing, I had like a friend that worked at Subway. They were like, yeah, no, our business has been insane. Everybody's coming here and they don't know why. They just keep hearing Subway and they just show up.
So, I know I told Kyle this. Did I tell you about what Will had to do at his Subway?
Oh, here we go.
He was like the assistant man. He was like top of the line for this Subway because there was a guy that owned like 3 of them in our area, and he was the assistant manager of this specific one. So he was in charge of everybody at this specific one. He'd been working there for like what 2-3 years. He got a call because apparently the conviction, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's about Jared from Subway. He had like hard drives worth of child porn, like a ridiculous amount. I can't remember the exact number. All I know is I remember looking at that and going, dude, I have video games that are less gigs than his photos of kids, which is stupid. But he got a call. I think the conviction happened late at night after Subways were already closed. And he got a call waking him up at like 1 or 2 in the morning. And they told him, I don't care if you do it now. I don't care if you show up to work an hour or 2 hours early. Go in there and take everything with his face down. They had to cover part of the menu. They had to take pictures and posters off the wall. They had to take posters off the glass. They had a cardboard cutout at that Subway of Jared that is apparently still in Will's closet because they didn't care what he did with it. He just took it home.
Holy shit, he should put that on eBay. So many people.
It's okay. We got off topic, but that was funny. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Just know that the guy who's probably never going to speak on this podcast, named Will, has a cardboard stand-up cutout of a child molester in his closet. Well, not I guess child porn. Whatever. He has. What if you go to sleep one night and say it's like behind the closet door and it like tips over and it's just the head poking out in the opening? When you wake up, you are 100% shitting yourself. Like that is
Are
to
you
be the
supposed to bring, like,
scariest
a girl
fucking
home?
thing.
You just
my
like
God.
open up the closet to look at your clothes and like, Why the fuck do you have a picture of this guy?
You just wake up
He's
to
like,
her
oh yeah, that's my
screaming.
god. I just pray to him every night.
Oh my god. All right, I think we're gonna wrap up episode 1 here. Thanks for anybody who clicked and listened. If you liked what you heard, you have any suggestions, leave some comments. I'll leave my email in the description. I'm gonna put our names with our pictures. If you want to talk about anyone specific, if you want to talk to anyone specific, hell, if you want to hop on the podcast at some point because you were an early listener, if you have an opinion, give us the opinion. If you have a question, give us the question. Anything you guys want to say, knock yourselves out. Not sure
Wait.
how consistent these are going to be. Matt, I'll let you talk in a fucking minute. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how consistent these are going to be. We'll see. I mean, we're obviously not doing this for money. We're just doing this for fun. For now. Bleacher Report hit us up.
Yeah,
We'll
we
see
all
where
got
this goes.
Jobs in school and everything, so.
Yeah, I mean, we all have jobs at least. Only 2 of us have school.
Oof.
But we'll see what's going on. Any last words?
Everybody, remember, eat fresh. All right.
All right, we're ending on that. Peace.